Hello and welcome back to In Spirit with Missy Reno Smith.
And I'm Vanna Smith, and in this episode we're going to be talking about spirit guides.
Spirit guides. Yep, this is part one.
Part one.
Of Guides and Angels. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to talk about spirit guides today, huh?
So let's start off with what are spirit guides?
Well, spirit guides they're different than guardian angels.
Yeah.
A spirit guide is like us. They're a person, a spirit, a child of God. Yeah. They've lived lives here on earth just like we do. So they have sort of practical experience in hell versus whereas an angel hasn't.
Yeah.
So angels don't live lives here, but we do. And so it's nice to have somebody that knows what we're going through.
Yeah.
Over there.
They know the game.
Yeah, they're over there, their inner corner, our little boxing corner we talk about, right? And they know what it's like to be here. Mm-hmm. And typically they have lived similar lives to whatever we're experiencing in our current life. They have experience in whatever that is.
So why do we really need them? I mean, because I guess, they're different from angels, but couldn't angels kind of help with all of that? Why would we need a spirit guide specifically?
Well, I think it's just for that very reason, practical help. It's if somebody knows what you're going through, they know how stressful,
But technically, I guess God could, give all that wisdom to an angel, though, so he chose for us as children of God to also kind of be mentors.
God can give the knowledge, not the wisdom. That's different. Wisdom's earned and through experience. Yeah. And so certainly our angels are knowledgeable about what we're going through. But they don't have the wisdom that our spirit guides have because they have experience in what we're going through. So that's why we need them. We need somebody that is compassionate to our circumstances. It's hard. It's really difficult to go through some of these lessons that we go through. It's hard to be patient. It's hard to be in pain, physical, spiritual, mental, whatever type of pain we're experiencing. That's difficult. And our spirit guides know what that feels like. So they are more compassionate, I guess, in that regard.
So anyone can kind of become a spirit guide if they have... Do you have to have, a certain level of wisdom to have become a spirit guide? Or can I just be I've only lived a few lives, might as well be a spirit guide to someone?
Well, I have met guides that didn't have a whole lot of life experience. I mean, but in one life, somebody could get a lot of wisdom. There are lives people live that are extremely intense, and you could get a lot of wisdom from that one life. And maybe, from that, maybe that's enough to be able to guide somebody else through similar circumstances. So I think it's okay for a guide that maybe doesn't have as much maybe not as many lives as somebody else, but certainly they must have some wisdom there. There's also a training program in heaven, so you can't just jump in and be a guide. Yeah. You do have to go through the training program. But a lot of us have, and a lot of us have guided other people. Just because you're living here on earth right now, it doesn't mean that you haven't been a guide to somebody else. You most likely have been. A lot of us do. A lot of us do it. And so it's something that you kind of earn. But is there do you have to have this much experience and, or this many lives? I don't think it's so much about that. It's more about the wisdom experience that you have.
And I actually have a question for you.
All right.
Something that we haven't really talked about maybe in a long, long time for me about who are my spirit guides. Because I know a long time ago, maybe when I was 7 or 8, we had talked about one of the spirit guides I had, but I don't have them anymore. So who are my current spirit guides?
Your current
My
ones.
current ones, yeah.
Okay. Well, all right, let me see. So, there's a man, and oh God, I'm struggling. I want to call him Hyman.
What?
I don't know if his name is Hyman or Himon.
Oh my God.
It sounds like Hyman.
That shocked me so much. I'm dropping papers.
Yeah, sometimes they have funny names.
Hyman.
Yeah, it means something totally different here on Earth, I think, than what it means over there.
Well, tell Hyman I said hi, man.
He says hi back. No, he's a current guide. He must be really new because I haven't really seen him around before, but you just graduated from college.
Just did.
So, I mean, literally, like within the last couple weeks, you graduated from college.
Yeah.
So, that is a time where we would maybe typically
Yeah.
pick up another guide, our next guide. And, you do still have a female around you who has a flowery name, a lily. So she's been around for a long time. She's since you were little. So same one.
What does she do for me?
She's just an overall helper, whereas Hyman is, he's more about career. He's more about, storytelling and filmmaking and, the things that you're moving on to now that you're out of school.
Well, it's nice to know that I have someone helping me out with that.
Yeah, it's nice to know that you have somebody with a sense of humor the same way that yours
absolutely.
is. He could have given himself a totally different name. They do. Oh my gosh. Okay, so a lot of times, guides, angels, they might have names that just sound so foreign to us that we don't relate to them. And so they'll say, just call me this, call me Tim or call me Jack or, whatever. Call me Janet. And it doesn't matter. They don't care what we call them so much. It's like, what do we want to call them?
And that actually brings back a memory is that one of the last spirit guides I did know that I had long time ago, we just called him Yoda for one of my spirit guides because his name was weird.
Yeah, sometimes we do that too. Yeah. Like we'll give him a name, a Gandalf or a Yoda or somebody, that's fine. Yeah. I think it's important that we have a name for our guide. Whether it's their actual name or not doesn't matter. I have a guide named Lester. I don't call him Lester. He's Les to me. And I just, that name just doesn't, I don't know, it just grinds the wrong way in my brain. So I won't say it. But if you're wondering what your guide's name is, you could come talk to me. You could come talk to me or somebody like me. That's great. But you know what? In the meantime, why don't you just give him a name? Yeah. Just give him a name. And
but don't call him Hyman. That's mine.
Don't. Yeah. We already have a Hyman. Okay. We don't need another
and that's
one.
mine. That's mine. I'm claiming him.
Well, it's important though. I think if you want to receive from your guides. Yep. The better you relate to them, the better you receive from them.
And I really relate to Hyman.
I thought you would. So give them a name. Give them a name that you like. It doesn't matter what it is. They don't care. It's what do you want to call them, and they'll be happy to answer to whatever you're calling them. They don't care. I used to do workshops with clients. I used to hold workshops where I would have everybody do a guided meditation, and everybody would sort of tune into their guides or their angels and get a visual and a name. And then I'd have everybody paint them, and that was always interesting, right? Because the people who were doing these workshops with me, they weren't necessarily artists, right? And so we had some really interesting portraits come out. But everybody that did this felt a deeper connection to their guides. And so that's something I think anybody can do. If you want to better receive from them, you need to reach out, bring them into your experience, picture them in your mind and that. And so you're probably wondering, what does Hyman
Yeah, I was about to ask
like?
you, what does Hyman look like? Because in my head, I guess I'm picturing Hyman. I don't know if that's exactly how he wants me to picture him. Maybe it is because it's funny, but
that's one way to picture him. But no, he's very tall and lanky. He's very thin. He has a sort of his nose has like a very clear kind of bump on it, and It's beautifully placed, by the
Yeah.
way. Everybody in heaven is absolutely beautiful. But we see things like that. A gap between their teeth, a bump on the nose, a flaw.
Yeah.
I'm using air quotes there, a flaw. But beautifully placed, and that's just part of his personality and that. So I almost feel like he wouldn't be Hyman without that bump on his nose. He just wouldn't.
Hyman just has a bump on his nose.
He just does, and that's who he is. So, but he's got, I would say, kind of a brown, darker brown skin color, and it's so hard to relate people in heaven to people on earth.
Yeah.
I mean, the cultures that we have here, there's just so many more in heaven. I mean, it's hard to do that, but if I had to place him somewhere on earth, I might say that maybe he was somebody like from Turkey or a place like that. A country in that area, if I had to place him, but it's hard to do that just because it doesn't quite translate quite the same.
What is his personality like?
Well, he seems funny to me. So funny so that at first I asked if he was making that name up, and he said no, that is his name, and I think that there might be there might even be a name like that on Earth that just is from another language, but to us it sounds like
funny.
It sounds something different. Yeah, we have a whole different interpretation of what that means. But so he's laughing. He has a big sense of humor about it. He's funny, but he's also serious and. So as I look at him in his like sort of serious face, it reminds me if I were to walk by your bedroom or something and see you working on something.
So he's a lot like me.
Yeah, like don't bother you.
Yeah, I'm busy.
Stay away. Just let you do your thing. And so I do see, he's like, there's time for work, there's time for play.
Oh yeah, I like that, definitely.
Yeah.
So that's very much like me, I work very hard, but then when I do play, I'm very funny, very whatever,
And we often see that. We see, guides will often resemble the person they're guiding, but then sometimes we see the exact opposite.
Yep.
And in my case, this is actually necessary. I require somebody who's very different from me to kind of push me, and from the other side and also from Earth, here on Earth, Daddy, my husband, he is very different, he's the gas and I'm the brakes, but somehow together we get there on time.
Yep.
So I need somebody that's always sort of pushing me and that. So not everybody has or needs a guide that's similar to them. I mean, some people are like me and they need somebody who's just totally different.
I guess for me it's more like I guess I just need someone who's like me, I'm very focused, very determined, but also I love to have fun and I love to be crazy and wacky.
Yeah.
and do all the storytelling and filmmaking, so I'm glad to know that there's someone that's helping me with that who's just like that.
Yeah, he's definitely, he looks like a great guide to me, and
is his humor very like he's like theatrically funny, or is he more like talkative funny?
More like talkative funny. But I think he could probably put on a good show when he wants to.
Yep.
So, but he's definitely, he's busy too.
But in that way, I guess you'd be a little bit different than me because I'm less talkative funny and I'm more like theatrical, like characters funny.
Sure. Yeah. So in that way, he would be a little different and that, but I don't know. I mean, I like him. I think he's a good one. I mean, I don't see a place for him on my team, but if I did, I wouldn't mind having him on my team. But certainly I just don't need somebody like that. But we're all different in what our needs are. So everybody who's listening, I mean, you're a unique individual, and what you need is, might be very different from what I need or what Vanna needs.
Some people need hymen, and some people need your spirit guides. What was your guide's name again? It was
Les.
Some people
That's
need
one of them.
hymen, some people need Les.
Yeah, that's one of them. I have a Samantha, and I have a Carver. I have who actually that's an angel, but he kind of hangs around like a guide.
Yep.
But and then I've got my guardian angels. I've got a lot. I've got a lot going on. They all sort of blend and mesh for me. I don't know, but yeah, if you're listening and you're wondering and you really want to know, I mean, yeah, come, talk to me, go to my website, sign up for a session, or find somebody, get a referral, find somebody locally or whatever, find somebody, or just do it yourself, I mean, just tune in and don't worry if you're wrong. I mean, who cares? Just give them a name, give them a look, something to picture in your mind, describe their personality. What should they be like? Don't worry about what they are. Tell yourself what they should be like.
Yep.
And just go with it. It's something to relate to. It's a way to bring them into your life.
They can be anything you want them to be, just not hymen. Just not hymen.
Just not him, right? But anything else. No, but I think it's important. I do. I think it's important that we give gratitude to our guides. That we, they're here for us, and so if we're actively reaching up towards them, they can really come into our life in a big way. We can start to receive, and or we can, increase our intuition. Don't expect them to just start talking in your ear necessarily. I mean, maybe that could happen, sure. But don't worry how they come in. It just matters that they do. That you start to feel their presence, and you kind of start to feel their guidance, feel them nudging you. And but you can sort of force that along.
So spirit guides, are they kind of getting almost like a little bit like life lessons too? Like we come here with plans and we learn our lessons here, but are they kind of gaining a little bit of that too when they're teaching you and guiding you?
Absolutely. I mean, we're always learning and growing.
Yeah.
And even in heaven, heaven's a perfect place. It's very difficult to, learn big lessons over there just because we don't experience them like we do here. That's what this place was made for, But everything we're doing over there, we are still learning and growing. And especially, if we're guiding somebody, because it's intense at times, they're sort of locked away with us, our higher self. They're secluded, just like we are over there. They're not out in the general population. They're taking time to focus on us here. But yes, they're learning and growing at the same time. They're getting new experiences, new challenges, and all of that. So absolutely, yes.
And you told me that I have 2 spirit guides, basically. I got Lily, and then I got Hyman. How many do people typically have? Because you have several, so.
Well, you had 2. You've got 3 now.
I have 3 now?
Yeah, you had 2. Well, you still got Yoda.
I didn't know he was still around. All
yeah,
right.
yeah. But, so you had 2. Now you brought a new one in, so now you've got 3. But how many do we typically have? Oh, gosh. The number is so unique to everybody. I have 3. I have 3 spirit guides. I also have 3 angels, guardian angels, which makes 6. Then I have Carver, who's sort of a special angel that comes in, and there's a couple other angels that come. So I have a big team.
Yeah.
All together. You have an even bigger team.
Looks like I got 12 guardian angels.
You got 12 guardian angels. Yeah. So, but how many spirit guides do we have? Well, it doesn't matter if you have 1 or 10. You have what you need.
Yeah.
What you need is somebody to push you, to motivate you, to get you through, to be that, that supportive voice as well.
Yep.
So maybe one is enough. Maybe one can do all of the things that you need. but maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe you need more. So it's just totally unique and individual, but it's not like any sort of like, it doesn't say anything about you as a person, how many you have.
So does Hyman, sorry, I laugh every time I think about his name. Does Hyman specialize in like comedy and filmmaking and that sort of thing? Do they all kind of specialize in their own sort of thing?
Sometimes, sometimes they're specialists. So he would, because he is specializing in career. So yes, he is a specialist.
Yeah.
Whereas Lily's an all around, Yoda's an all around, Hyman is a specialist. And, I have, my three are all arounds, all three of them. They're all around, but they're also for mediumship. So they're like, they all do kind of everything with me. But sometimes we have specialists that just come in for certain time periods or for certain things, somebody that's, I guess I did have a specialist when you kids were younger. I had a May who was around. She was sort of like a nurse when you kids were younger and sort of helping. I don't know if she was nursing me or you. I don't know. Probably me. And, just helping me through those early years of motherhood, which are intense.
Yep.
So we get guides that come and go that help us with, certain things. Certainly while you were in school, you had somebody that was coming and helping you just for the school portion of your life. Sometimes we get sick in life. And, we have a special guide that comes in to guide us through something like cancer or, something else, or addiction, things like that. So if you have, things that are going on in your life right now that are, difficult, rest assured you have somebody that's there, specifically there for whatever it is that you're dealing with. God doesn't leave us hanging.
Yeah.
God knows what we need and sends us who we need.
Do you think that Hyman is here to stay?
Typically not. Typically Hyman is not permanent, but we'll just say, no, he's here to stay. I mean, he's here for your career, and yes. So he has more permanence than we would typically we would think of for that. But no, he's here to stay.
He's got the perfect name to just crack jokes with.
Yes.
Yeah, I was holding on to that joke for a second when I said, "Is Hyman here to stay?"
Yeah, I know. Now it's going to be nonstop Hyman talk in our home.
Oh yeah, definitely. He'll never end.
Yeah, it won't end.
So he's just going to be there like throughout my career. So anytime I need help, I can just call for Hyman.
Yes, you can.
That's good. That's good to know. That's comforting for me. There's Hyman there, and he's there to help me, protect me. He's there for me.
He is there for you. He's there. All of our guides are. They're there for us. And we should thank them. We should give gratitude.
Thank you, Hyman. Wherever you're at right now, thank you.
He's right here. But no, we should give gratitude to your guides. Talk to them, bring them into your life. Say, hey, what do you have for me today?
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that. You don't have to, you don't have to say anything special. You don't have to call them in with anything special. You don't need a candle. You don't need anything. You're just talking to beings that are around you and can hear you.
Just like what I just did. Hey, Hyman, what's up?
You just did it.
Tell Hyman, hi, man,
You just told him. People say that to me a lot. They'll say, tell my person this, or tell my guide that, tell my angel this. And I'll say, you just told them.
Yep.
You just told them. They just heard you. They can hear you. You might not be able to hear them like I can, but they can hear you.
Yep.
They know what you're saying. They're, and even with what you're thinking, I think it's important to give your guides permission to hear your thoughts if you want them to. Otherwise, it's more like a relay system.
Yeah.
God relays it back. We do have privacy if you're a regular person and not like me, but you do have privacy unless you're willing to give that up, which I because it's not a big deal for me to not have it. I think everybody should just give it up. But
I feel like Hyman, he could know my thoughts, because you know what? He seems like he'd get it.
He'd get it.
Seems like a chill guy, you know? He seems like he's fun. He'd get it.
So you just gave him that permission, so he's
now reading my brain.
He can tune in a little more deeply. And
can he help me more by doing that, like telling me what to do, sort of? Because he doesn't have to wait for that relay system.
Yeah. So here's how I sort of describe it. Human beings are odd creatures. We don't always say what we're thinking, and sometimes we'll say the opposite. So our guides are sort of standing there, and they're listening to us saying, "Oh, I've got it. I can handle it." But on the inside, we're not handling it. And I'm fine. But on the inside, we're not fine. So they're sort of trying to read that and get from the relay system what God is sending back. I just feel like when you give them that full permission to really come in, I do think that you're opening the door to a more deeper relationship. They're just more capable, maybe, in or helping you faster. Maybe I don't know. It works for me. This is how I live my life. I encourage people to not be scared, not worry. It doesn't matter what thoughts are going through your brain. They're humans too. Like, they've been here. They know what it's like.
But answer me this: does Hyman look horrified now that he's been able to access my thoughts in the past 10 seconds?
Does he look horrified? No, he doesn't look horrified. But only because he gets you, and he does get you. So he's not horrified. But I think, if, maybe one of my guides were to go into your brain, maybe they might be a little
shocked.
a little shocked.
Hyman gets it, he understands, but anyone else probably not.
You're a good match. You guys are a good match. But no, but truly, we don't have to be embarrassed by. Sometimes we get angry. Sometimes we're mean in our mind. We might think a mean thought, out of anger or whatever it might be. Sometimes we have sexual thoughts. Not like in having that conversation with my daughter, but
Hyman now knows all about it.
Hyman knows all about it. I mean, that's just normal stuff. I mean, that's just part of being human, having these human experiences. God understands that. Our guides understand that. Even our angels get it, even though they haven't lived lives here on earth. I mean, we talk about sex in heaven as something that does exist over there. So, we don't have to be embarrassed by things like that. I mean, what else could be going through our brains? I don't know. I mean, but those are the things that I think that most people might be embarrassed about or worried about. You just don't have to be. It's like nothing over there.
For me, it's just more like my odd thoughts about, weird stuff, weird things. Or I guess also my negative thoughts too,
Sure, yeah.
I might think something, I probably wouldn't say it out loud ever.
Yeah, we do. We think something that might be negative or, angry, harsh, mean, whatever it might be. Yeah. I mean, those thoughts come into our brain, and we don't always vocalize them because they're not always meant to be vocalized, but they're part of our process. They're part of our, the whole experience. And, we are emotional beings. Yeah. We, and emotions, they just create those opportunities. So
those are definitely the most, I think, embarrassing thoughts as a human are the ones that are negative, either about yourself and about other people too.
Absolutely. Right. And, we don't want to be seen as being mean or being angry beings or anything, but it happens. I mean, we're all going to have a thought. We're going to get angry. We're going to, I don't know, but it's not necessarily who we are at the same time, because we're not acting on it. That's, if we're acting on these things, and that's different. Yeah. But even then, they understand, and we're all, wherever we are in our growth, wherever you are right now in your growth is perfect. You're perfect right now. You're learning, you're growing.
I'm so perfect.
You are. You're so perfect.
I'm so amazing.
You are amazing. We all are. We just don't have to worry about those things. Like, heaven's arms are wide open for all of us. When it's our time to come home, it doesn't matter what we have done or said or anything. We're here to grow. This is the stage where we do it. This is the experiencing stage, and nobody's judging us, including your spirit guides.
Including Hyman.
Including Hyman.
All right, well, I think that's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be continued in part 2 about guardian angels. So
remember that God loves you, and I'm sending angels your way.
If you'd like to know more about Missy Reno Smith, her readings, her artwork, please visit MissyRenoSmith.com. You can also find In Spirit Podcast on TikTok, X, and Instagram, as well as YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts.